Hello, everyone, and welcome to this is our first conversation and interview as Epic Wisdom Leadership. And I am here today with a longtime friend and colleague who is an epic leader, and you'll find out shortly why, Sylvia Warren. So, welcome, Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Delighted
So,
to be here.
yes, I'm delighted you're here. I'm delighted to be here. So, we have gotten together and decided to do a series of conversations and interviews, if you will, with people that we think and also see as epic leaders. And you're going to find out why we feel that way about the people that we're going to interview from here on out. And we're starting with ourselves because we both see ourselves as epic leaders.
We know we are.
And we know we are, exactly. And so we decided to start with ourselves. So that's what today will be about. And we're going to start with Sylvia Warren. So let me tell you a little bit about Sylvia. Now, first of all, if I had to read her whole bio, we would be here for a long time. So I am going to hit the highlights and then we're going to go from there. So, first of all, Sylvia Warren has an MBA and she is an epic leadership coach. She's a facilitator of Epic Wisdom Circles. She's the creator of the Epic Wisdom Journeys. You hear epic a lot in all this. Maybe we ought to define epic as we go along, which are transformational travel wisdom card deck. She's a travel photographer, and I have to say, I've seen her handiwork. It is excellent. And the one that my most favorite is she's a travel shaman. And you're also going to find out why that's the case. Let me give you a little background. She is, for more than 2 decades, Sylvia has walked alongside culturally and globally diverse, inclusive wisdom leaders, change makers, culture shifters, and entrepreneurial innovators. Boy, those are mouthfuls, but incredibly profound. These women carry the weight of human, societal, and environmental impact along the demands of world-class organizations, global nonprofits, and purpose-driven companies that refuse to choose between profit, people, and principle. So you see why she's an epic leader. And her clients have called her the legendary Sylvia Warren. Welcome, legendary.
Thank you.
I'm not
One
sure
of
I've
my
ever
favorite surprises
inter-
from clients.
I don't think I've ever interviewed anybody who's legendary. So thank
I
you.
had I hadn't been legendary until I got started calling them my clients. So I was also
Well,
surprised.
yeah, really. Wow, that's something. Okay. So anything else you want me to say before we jump in?
Uh, no, I think we're going to talk about why I love working with these
Hmm.
women
Hmm.
leaders.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, let's start with who you are really. Oh, by the way, we're calling this a particular epic wisdom leadership conversation, the deeper story. So we are going to go into Sylvia's deeper story, backstory, and you'll see how we're going to navigate that as we go forward. So, who am I really? So, who are you really, Sylvia?
Well, I'm having to admit most recently that I really am a travel shaman. You know that very well. But and that encompasses my epic leadership coaching. For years, because I have a lifelong love affair with travel, for years I would travel to different cultures, bring back wisdom, share it with clients, sort of give them the modern leadership version of how that could work if they shifted their perspective. And that became a very fruitful activity for them. I mean, it really helped a lot of leaders see things differently, approach things differently, and come up with solutions that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so there's that side of it and how it totally weaves into the work that I've done. And then there's also the side that when I travel, I have these way beyond the box, not quite extraterrestrial, but almost experiences in these on all of these different continents. So, and it's been
Cool.
happening over the lifetime of my travels. So there's that piece. So I feel like my travel is really a place where I go and I actually am gathering wisdom
Mm.
to receive so I can come back and share it
Mm.
with clients and friends and colleagues.
And I love the way that you have followed that place inside of you, because you write about this. You write that, these places call to you, and
Mm-hmm.
then you say, "Yes, I'm going to
Yeah.
go." And um, I have had the privilege of being in one of Sylvia's epic travel shaman circles and seen her handiwork and also seen where she has gone. And it's been such an enriching, that's the word that always comes up for me, is how enriching her wisdom is when she brings it back, and also the conversations that our group get into around her work. So I probably can answer this question, but let's have you answer this question.
Okay.
Why do you do this work?
Whoa. Well, the short answer is because I'm fascinated by people in general, women leaders in particular. The deeper answer is because I had this early life experience when I was like 2 years old with my mom, who had gotten very sick, was in the hospital. She had just come home. I was so excited to see her, and she apparently had some kind of a skin disease. And I don't know if she was in pain, still or what, but she didn't hug me right away. And I was sort of sitting on the bed looking at her, and all of a sudden I got this knowing, because of course I didn't have any language really, that she didn't think she was beautiful anymore.
Hmm.
And it was amazing. At the same time, I had this whole instinctive response of, but of course she's beautiful. She's my mother.
Hmm.
But I had no words to communicate that to her. And of course, because it happened at age 2, it's not something that we ever really had a conversation about. I realized really many years into my leadership coaching that this pivotal experience had really was at the core of why I love to work, particularly with women leaders. I've worked with a lot of men leaders as well, but particularly women leaders, because I get to be a mirror so they can see their unique magnificence. And of course, now I have all of the language to tell them not only how epic that is for them, but also how they can use that in ways
Hmm.
that really allow them to move forwards. So,
And I love that. It's like you champion them.
yeah.
That's the word that came up inside of me, and as I was listening to you and knowing you, I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You are a beautiful mirror and reflector of people, women's essence. That's the way I would say it. And that story of from your childhood, I love that you even remember it. I'm not sure I remember anything when I was 2 years old, but
I understand. I actually went through it was like a coaching process that triggered the memory.
uh,
So it
okay,
happened many, 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 many years later.
right,
Yeah.
right. So you must you've had background in corporate, you've had background in nonprofit, and now pretty much you work one on one. Is that correct?
I have been, although as you know, I've started working more with groups. I worked with
Hmm.
groups live for clients, going to their various facilities and doing both retreats and also leadership workshops, etc. Um, but of course, the pandemic put a damper on all of that,
Yeah. Hmm.
squeezed me back into the sort of one-on-one scenario. And now I've started to expand out again with the Epic Wisdom Circles. So, but what I'm seeing is that individuals actually need some private time. So that's why now I'm offering these private wisdom intensives.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, this is really quite a profound time right now
Yeah.
for women leaders, and for the kind of work that you do. Yay, you're out there. Well, I think again, you might have already talked about it, but is there anything you'd like to say in addition to what you've already said about why you do this work?
Uh, just that it's gratifying in a way that just touches my soul, truthfully.
Mm,
I mean, it, I mean, I love to see, and as I said, I've worked with a lot of men, but women in particular. I love to see their growth and expansion as leaders. I mean, invariably, I'd have to say the majority of women I've worked with have either gone on to more senior leader positions where they are, or they've left where they are, they've started their own businesses, or they've gone on to leading other larger organizations. So it's I feel like I'm doing something, I'm making a contribution to the world through them because they're all over the planet, you
mm,
know. And
wow.
and even the men, I mean, I was just remembering based on our conversation, I think I might have even been in Croatia when I was having this conversation with this client who was in Pakistan. Now, I had never spoken to anybody in Pakistan before, but
Mhm.
he was coming through my global client in New York, and he said to me in the course of this conversation, he said, I've told you, I've shared things with you that I haven't shared with my wife. And I thought, I mean, this was a professional conversation. We weren't,
Right,
like,
right. We're crossing any boundaries
I
there.
know. And then he said to me, I hope you don't stop doing this work
Mm,
because you're extraordinary at it. I mean, I was so flat. The last thing I expected to hear from him, just the whole, yeah. So you
beautiful.
just never know how one little thing you do can really help someone in ways that are beyond your own imagining, really. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's so important for us as leaders, are what, and is to champion each other.
Yeah.
In its time, it is
Right.
time to reflect to especially our women sisters, how magnificent they are. There's plenty to go around here.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Plenty,
Yes.
plenty. Is there any other stories you want to share from your childhood that kind of shaped, where you are today?
Yeah, probably the big one was, at age 8, I ended up in Catholic school, thanks to my mother, my dear mother, which at the time was just traumatic for me because
Mm,
I was, walking to school with the neighborhood kids, and I'd been in public. It was just, yeah. My whole life was disrupted because I had to catch a bus and go to a school that was in a Hispanic neighborhood. And then there were these nuns who, as far as I could tell, wore penguin suits. I mean, nobody gave me the 411 on what that experience was going to be like, and then, kids were getting hit with rulers. It seemed like a very dangerous environment to me.
mm,
And there was no place to make a connection because the kids spoke Spanish at lunchtime. And, of course, I didn't speak Spanish. And so, yeah, so that what I realize now looking back on that is how much that shaped my ability, one, to sort of navigate totally unknown environment,
mm,
and figure out what I could do while I was still being traumatized by what was going on.
mhm,
And the other thing was that, I really, how I did that alone, how it was more than just being self-reliant. I actually learned to be sovereign in a way that when I finally got to like high school and make some connections with like-minded girls, I I could be in shared sovereignty. I could
mm,
appreciate their uniqueness.
mm,
Nobody had to dominate. Nobody had to
mhm,
be always in charge. It was just,
mhm.
and that really shaped my whole thought about leadership. That it's not about domination. That it's not about just directing. It's about really coming together and co-creating and
Mm.
making a decision and then moving forward.
I love that. Of course, the word that came up for me was competition. And
Yeah.
I grew up, and we all know
Yeah.
that competition that can happen in our younger years.
Yes.
And this is a time, however, on the planet, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel, having, lived many decades,
Right.
that it's really shifted. It's like there that competition thing is not as prevalent, thank God, as it
Yeah.
was. And so there is a welcoming and an inclusion that is sort of in the waters now. It's organic. And I love it. I love it because I,
Yeah.
like you, am the same. It's like, let's co-create. Co-creation is one of my big things. And it's like, yeah, I mean, look at us.
I
You
know.
know,
Here we are.
I know, it's like I've done plenty of things by myself. It's like, I want to do it with somebody else for a while.
Yes, right.
So anyway, yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing that. Okay, so we've talked about who you are really. We've talked about why you love doing this work. Um, you want to talk about your Epic Wisdom Intensive now. I know you've had corporate background, you did that for many decades,
Yeah,
and yet you've shifted into these intensives that you like to do, either individually or with groups.
that's right.
You want to talk more about that?
Sure, sure. In fact, why don't I just pull up uh, a
Oh, goody, we get
screen
to see
so
the card.
people can actually see the what we're talking about here.
Cool beans.
Yeah, this, you know, it now this you'll appreciate this from the travel shaman perspective, Rebecca, because the phrases at the top of this underneath the journey, from confusion to clarity, from chaos to context, and from control to creativity, that all came to me in a download. I literally
Cool.
woke up one morning with those phrases and I was like, okay, so now what are these? And they were like, write it down. And that became truthfully the genesis for our Epic Wisdom Circle conversations, because they said to me, you're going to do 3 sessions initially. The initial 3 sessions, the first one's going to cover the first point, the second one's going to cover the second point, the third one's going to cover the third point. Do not worry about the fourth, because at that point you will be co-creating with the group, if they want to go forward, what they want to go forward with. So this has actually, what I realized, it's still very relevant given these times, these let me just say unspeakable times. Let me just phrase it like that.
Yeah.
The short
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah.
And because there still is, there's intentional chaos, which is creating huge confusion. And leaders need to be clear, you
Hmm.
know, it's a requirement, and also that we've had a whole shift from what we can control. It's clear that we can't control what we used to control, and we're not going to be able to control what may be coming in the future. So we better get creative.
Hmm.
And that's where this journey takes its form from. Actually, private wisdom intensives are about, first, let's just, in the conversation, let's just be really clear about where you are, where you understand that you are now,
Hmm.
because the story that you're telling yourself may not be the deeper story of what's really going on.
Nice.
you know and
Nice.
part of that separation out is, clients come and they say, oh, this challenge is just overwhelming, and I'm like, is that a challenge that's actually being generated from you? Because they're trying to take responsibility for the challenge.
Hmm.
And I'm like, is that actually a challenge that's being generated by you? Is that an external challenge, or is that an internal challenge? you know,
Hmm.
because that determines how we approach it, how we look at it, and how we approach it. So it's getting really clear about that and understanding where you are, so that we can reorient you literally away from the disorientation. In other words, we can call it what it is, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on now with language where things are not being called what they are. Words are
Mm.
being misused and
Mm.
violated even.
Mm.
And this is where I'm in the conversation with you, so you can actually reconnect with your inner compass. This is not about me just telling you what to do,
Hmm.
because in many cases but you haven't been able to be clear because of all of the noise and the exhaustion. you know
Hmm.
so and then the third piece is, once we've moved through that and we've gained some clear space, we can begin to look at what needs to be reimagined and where can we experiment, so that you can actually leave the session with what I'm calling a specific embodied next step.
Mm.
It may look very differently. I'm not talking about potentially a strategy. I'm talking about something you can test to see, does this work for you? Because we want to select something that matches up with who you are,
Mhm.
both as a leader and as a person,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because that's the holistic approach. So that's the sort of journey, if you will, and then um, how you how you receive this is in a single 90-minute video conversation with me.
Okay.
And there's a pre-session intake form. So you send me, I have a 10-point questionnaire that you complete so that we can really zero in on what you need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at the end, in terms of what naturally comes out of this is we pull one of the cards from my deck, a travel wisdom card for you. So we can kind of anchor what you're going to walk away with. And then you get a personal email follow-up, about at least within 48 hours, based on our conversation to support you in continuing to move forward. So
Lovely.
yeah.
Well
And the
thought
final,
out.
and then the final thing is, this, who is it for? Well, if you're a leader and you're at, a critical crossroads, and that could be because of the challenges you face, but it could also be because now you're really questioning, how much longer am I going to tolerate this, at a whole nother level. And what's important here is what you've tried in the past no longer works. It doesn't work with you, it doesn't work with your team, or it doesn't work in your business, or it doesn't work in your life, because they're all interconnected. So if that's where you are, then this is something that's definitely worth your consideration. I mean, there are a number of different gaps. The bottom line is, whatever the gaps that you're experiencing are, they're going to be costing you a lot of energy. And that's rather huge because the external environment is draining our energy big time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what I find that really is pivotal here, what I've seen so far with the clients that I've spoken with is, we've lost connection with our inner knowing, that inner compass. We've been told as women, we shouldn't rely on intuition, we shouldn't rely on inklings, instincts. I mean, all of this nonsense that we've been told, when in fact, we have survived this long on this planet because we have those gifts.
Absolutely.
So it's reconnecting you with your inner compass so you can hear it. It's still there, but it's just gone silent. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, this allows you to navigate through what really is it's unprecedented change in these organizations. And the only way we have to move through the chaos. We can't get around it. So you need to be grounded in clarity. And that it may be a momentary thing. I mean? You may be clear this moment, not clear the next moment, and then clear the moment after that. Unfortunately, yeah. So there's a huge level of agility and adaptability, and being able to pivot
Mm-hmm.
that is required.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take all this into consideration because so many of us are running on empty already.
Mm.
And so this is something within you actually asking to shift, because that's where your deeper story resides,
Mm-hmm.
is what in you is really wanting to shift, even if you don't know what it is. So that's why I say it's not for leaders who want action plans and productivity frameworks. It's really for something deeper,
Mm-hmm.
because to get out of this quagmire that we're in, we've got to go deeper.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
This is you're singing my songs, so which is one of the reasons I know we've been friends and colleagues for so long.
Yes, yes. So these are just, as always, people who've worked with me and what they've had to say. And I think that the key piece here is that one of my superpowers is the ability to listen with utter neutrality. I just, I think I was born without judgment bones, regular judgment, in that sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also because I'm so interested in who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment gets in the way of me seeing that.
Yeah.
so So this is why I'm offering initially 5 sessions this month, and the 90-minute session, so it's condensed, but it's so that you can have precisely what you need in this time. And if you want to come back later, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would love for you to share one of your cards. And
Ah,
I don't know if you have them pulled up over there so
uh,
you can access it. But I just, while you're looking for a card that you want to share, and you'll get to see that side of Sylvia as well, her travel shaman side. Oh, here we are.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Yes.
let's look at,
Okay.
well, this is the one that I think, speaks to what's no longer works. That used to be the trends and the spreadsheets and the, business plans and the strategies and the da 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 that didn't know it's not working
Hmm.
because we're in not only new territory, we're in unknown territory. That
Hmm.
and this is, as you can see, this is a desert scene from Morocco, and we're in the desert. We're in the sands are shifting underneath our feet constantly, and the wind is blowing the sand in our face, if you will. So this card speaks to the need for us to return to ancient maps, to use signs, symbols, metaphors, our instincts, clues. What's in the shadow? What's in the light? What does that mean? What could that mean? What might that mean?
Hmm.
And in doing that, to find our way forward. That's what this card really speaks to
Mm.
relative to that.
It's so juicy, and I love all the metaphors and then all the images. That's one of the things I love about your cards and how you use them, and I'm sure you use them with your clients as well, is what it's so evocative of what it brings up in all of us. It speaks to us on such a the deeper level,
Yeah.
and that way we can't stay superficial. We can't stay in the shallow end and just kind of splash around. Not when these cards come up with what they convey. And I love that. And she's got 52 of them. She's got a whole card deck
This is true. This is true.
from all over the world. It's just really, really wonderful. Really wonderful how you weave all that into what you offer and how you work with people.
Let
So,
me see if I can show one more here.
oh, good.
Yes. I think this one is really appropriate because it speaks to what you're describing, Rebecca. This time that we're in is one in which no longer wanting to do it alone and to be in this state of co-creation. This
Hmm.
time we're in, I feel like, is really compelling us to realize how interconnected we are with everybody and everything.
Yes.
And that is why inclusion is so important, because it already exists. If you look at nature, it's already happening. It's been
Hmm.
happening. It's how we got here. It's what supported
Hmm.
life.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that really speaks to how we need to look at our stories now, because they're no longer just our stories individually. It's our collective story, and we need to generate some new narratives. By the way,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So
Well, hopefully in our series, whatever happens in this particular conversation, epic wisdom leadership, that we will create those new stories, and
exactly.
maybe we want to do that in one of our recordings. I don't know.
Ah,
This is brand new, so we'll see
yeah.
how it unfolds for
See the
sure.
co-creation happening right in the moment.
Exactly. You all can be just, watch it happen.
That's
Watch the
right.
creativity happen. Is there anything else you want to share before I ask you how people can get in touch with you?
No, I think that's the gist of it for for this conversation. I think that really is.
Okay.
Those are the key points. Yeah.
So you want to share how you like people get in touch with you, maybe website or email or to direct message you on some social media platform or whatever
Right.
works for you.
I think probably the easiest thing is that people, if you have an interest in having a private wisdom intensive, that Send me an email. Let's have a
Hmm.
discovery session, a 15-minute discovery session, so you can discern if this is whether this is really going to work for you, you
Hmm.
know, because you may not know me that well, or you may have had experience with me before. And I mean, this is a wonderful platform. Then and Rebecca's interview is obviously stellar here. However, I appreciate the fact that you may want a little more contact and information, and sort of a personal conversation. So
Sure.
I'd say, yeah, that's easy. Just email me at Sylvia at simplythebestcoaching.com and put in the subject line discovery,
Mm. So
discovery.
Sylvia, simply thebestcoaching.com. Want to
Correct.
make sure we say that again. Sylvia at simplythebestcoaching.com. All one word.
Exactly. And then in the subject line, just put discovery, question mark, if you will.
Mhm.
And that way I can get back to you and we can set up a time to just have a 15-minute chat to see whether this, because discernment's another big piece of what we're going through now. So it's important
Absolutely.
that you be able to know for yourself if this could work for you.
And those discovery sessions, of course, that's not brand new. Pretty much anybody does those kind of things, and that
Exactly.
that's really important because uh, finding that person in your life that can really take you to the next level of where you want to go.
Yeah.
And what Sylvia is sharing in today is so important. And when it is a match, it's magic. It's mysterious, and at the same time, it's magic.
Yeah.
So if you hear discovery session, please don't turn off. It's like, oh God, another discovery session. It's like, no, these are really important. So you can find that perfect match. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a traveler, so I'm all about exploration and discovery.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. I keep telling her, would you put me in your suitcase and take me along? I mean, I'd really like to
I
go.
know.
So anyway, well, it's been a pleasure, Sylvia, and it's our first one. So woohoo, we did it,
Yes.
and
Yay.
yay! And if you happened on this, and we'll be posting it in different places, and just stay tuned. I don't know when we're going to do the next one, but we will be doing a next one, and
Absolutely.
I think it is. It feels very. It's emerging. It feels juicy. I love the word juicy. It blows my skirt up. That's a Rebecca-ism. And there'll be more coming where this is epic wisdom leadership. So bye for now.
Stay tuned.